Hi there, I'm Adrienne Everheart, your feminine energy dating and relationship coach, and today I'm going to talk about how to really instantly get a man attracted to you and feeling really addicted to you and feeling so good when he's around you that you are the only woman he wants to spend time with. Now, this works, of course, if you're in dating or in a relationship or marriage, so stick around to the end because I have an especially important topic about something you need to know about men so that he will stay addicted to you and drawn to you for a good long while and into the sunset together. In this video, I want to share with you how to really get a man addicted to you. By addicted, I mean he is just feeling so wonderful and in such a heightened, powerful, good, manly state that he just wants to stay there. And he wants to stay there in that place because when he's with you, he's feeling so good about himself. He's feeling like he's the guy in the relationship, and maybe he's feeling the most masculine and desired he ever has. So there are a lot of misconceptions about what really makes a man feel these sorts of feelings. In my world, before I discovered my feminine energy and really woke it back up in myself, I was in a world of if I do X, if I do this, if I say this, if I let him know how hot I am for him, if I make his perfect dinner and if I dress perfect and I'm perfect weight and everything, he'll love me and like me and want to be with me. And that's just not true. It's just not true. A lot of those things are what we think will make a person really fall for us. And of course, at one point in time, I had read a book about how to win friends and influence people. And a big thing in there was just getting a person to talk about themselves and just be, really interested. And that doesn't really work either. I mean, it does to some degree. I'm going to touch on that. But the thing I want to stress here is that the first thing you want to do is you want to authentically be who you are. Authentically be who you are. I want you to dress in a way that feels comfortable to you. Wear your hair and your makeup in styles and in ways that feel good to you. Now, if you are currently not happy with how you look or how you dress or how you feel in your body, you can always seek support. You can seek support to see what else is out there. I mean, you're watching this video as a form of that. You're kind of curious about what can this woman teach me about myself. So there's nothing wrong with, expanding a little bit outside of your comfort zone to really discover authentically who you are, because the truth is that we change. We're always changing and evolving. So the first place you want to start at being comfortable in your body, comfortable in your skin, and knowing what your boundaries are as a woman. Now, why does this get a man addicted to you? Because it's going to be confidence that he sees and comfort. A man does not want a phony baloney cheerleader. That's not what he wants. He wants a person who has her own dreams, her own desires, her own boundaries, knows what she wants, and has her own personality. And of course, align this with your feminine energy. This is where you really drive a man wild because you are so unlike him. And you have desires and tendencies and dreams that men just don't have. And that's one of the reasons men get so drawn to us, is that they're drawn to that feminine energy world of dreams and things that really appeal to us and feel good to us. They kind of get lost in that world because otherwise they're in the masculine energy world all day. The next thing I want to talk about is that you want to show interest in whatever he has to share. And John Gottman, who is really a pioneer in the research for relationships and marriage and what makes a marriage really last, did a lot of research in this area and found that there's something called turning towards your partner. And it's really just a way to say that when your partner mentions something to you, you show some sort of interest in it. Now, let's say your partner is picking out, showing you a vintage train that you really have no interest in. Well, in that moment, you can observe it with them from a place of just being very emotionally connected and understanding this is something that's important to your partner. and notice something good about it. So that's something I've had to do because my husband had very different music tastes than I did. But sure enough, I was just open to it. And I could let him, make this bid for my attention by sharing a certain song with me. And I could hear something in it I liked. And then we'd have something to talk about in that moment. And that's when men really, really feel good about themselves in a relationship. And that's when they can share something with you that's important to them or interesting, be it science, nature, or the infrastructure at their company, whatever it may be, and you can really just be open to listening for a little bit and finding something that you can kind of connect with there. Remember, a relationship just isn't about you, and it's not just about him, but it is about occasionally you're going to come to him and say, look at that little squirrel out the window. He looks like he's having so much fun. Your husband could care less what a squirrel is doing outside of the window, but if he stops for a moment and looks and goes, boy, isn't he cute, you feel this little bit of connection with him. And so you're doing the same thing, and I want you to authentically just really learn how to get in touch with something you like about the situation. There's got to be something, there always is. It could just be quality time with your partner or your husband and really watching him enjoy something. That can be something you can connect with as well. Now, the next thing is I want you to be bold enough to actually be able to tell him what doesn't interest you and when you are bored. And I want you to at some time say no to him. And no is probably something a lot of people don't do enough of. And we often spend a lot of our time and energy doing everything for other people and not really knowing what we feel, what we want to do. And a great aphrodisiac for a relationship is really the ability to say no. And if a man really has a problem with you saying no and not having a little bit of like comfort in just understanding what the no is about, well, that can sometimes be an alert to, is this the type of person I want to build a relationship with? Or is there a problem in our relationship that no is somehow cutting off the connection between us, your boundary? Now, I'm going to give you an example. I don't know if it's like the best example, but I once had a boyfriend call me up and say, hey, I don't want to go out tonight. I really just want to see this afternoon movie with you. What do you think? I really just want to go see a movie. And I let him know that I did not like seeing movies while the sun is still up and out. I wanted to be out, and I was really looking forward to tonight, but I didn't feel like going to a movie in the afternoon, and I didn't. And this really upset him, and he then came to the conclusion that we just could never really figure out what we wanted to do unless it was what I wanted to do. Now, in that moment, I believe there's a little bit of truth in everything. And there's a little bit of truth in what he's saying, and I knew that because I was very much aware that I didn't want to step out of my comfort zone to go see a movie in the afternoon, even though this was a person's bid to spend time with me. Did I have anything special planned that afternoon? Not really. But a day outside in nature with my pets and a day away from that is sometimes tough for me to peel myself from. But I noticed it and I felt it and I was like, yeah, I'm just stopping this from happening because it's not exactly what I want. Now, I know this is kind of a very minor example to share with you, but it really says a lot about human nature, and especially when you're finding out your boundaries. And what really makes a man wild and crazy about you is, yes, that you have boundaries. Yes, you can say no, but you also have some flexibility in there to try something outside of your comfort zone. So there's going to be hard no's about certain things in your life that this is just not flexible on. But then there's also like, yeah, I could try this, I could do this, and I could give it a shot, and let him know you're doing exactly that. I normally don't like seeing a movie in the daytime. It always makes me feel weird when I step out of the theater, but what the heck, I'm going to give it a try today. And let him know that I'm going to try it for you, and just go and see how the experience feels. Now, this one is so important. You want to allow a man to do for you. And this is really tough for a lot of women because we are so used to making things happen for us in our masculine energy. You know, we have done so much for so long making things happen in our world that we actually don't know how to let go and let a man do for us. And we're worried that he's going to think we just want to take from him, or we're going to appear lazy or some other negative characteristic. And this is one of the reasons why, if you can, I want you to date lots of men, because there really is a comfortable place you get where you can really allow a man to do for you. And at first it was really hard for me. I felt really, and sometimes I still do, I feel really selfish, but I see how happy it makes my husband to do things for me. And when I come to him and say, oh honey, you know, you picked us up lunch today and it feels so good to eat together. And I got so much work done in my office and I really appreciate that. And I tell him how it feels when he does these things for me. I can see him kind of puffing up a little bit and feeling very proud about himself. So when you allow a man to do for you, and you're not acting like no one's ever done anything for you ever, but you're able to just, you know, graciously accept it, like, oh, this feels so wonderful. You've laid out lunch for us. This is so much fun. Or, oh, I feel so excited about our plans for tonight. It's so sweet that you made plans. You're able to just get in touch with what you're feeling, letting him know that it brings you some sort of happiness or joy or satisfaction. The guy is going to want to do more for you because he's now connecting that good feeling he's having about himself. He's connecting it to lovely, amazing you. This is how you get a man very, very hooked on you and make him feel almost addicted to you, because no other woman is getting him like you do. And he's feeling like a man around you, and he's having all these other great experiences. You're not always telling him yes, and everything doesn't always go. You know, you're a little bit of curiosity for him. So this is a very important component to attraction, is that curiosity, and letting that man feel like he doesn't exactly ever really know you, but he does always know that you're open and you're honest and you're warm with him, but that the relationship is constantly unfolding. So this last tip I want to share with you, it's so important to all of you ladies, especially those of you that are in a troubled relationship and you really want to rebuild things with your partner. And one of the biggest things that you want to understand is that men and women, we really are just different. We each have masculine and feminine energy. This is true, but ultimately we have one hormone or another hormone dominating what's going on inside of our bodies. And there's something really important you should know about men and emotion, is that they just are not going to be emotionally how a girlfriend would respond to you, how your mother would respond to you, or a very, very close friend of yours would respond to you. Men process emotion differently than women. Men can get flooded with cortisol and endorphins a lot more quickly than women do. And this is science. This is actually proven that a man just processes emotion differently. And when a man gets flooded with so much emotion, they go into fix-it mode. They go into solve it right now mode. Whereas women, we kind of can do things a little differently. Don't get me wrong, we can get into solve it mode too. But this is why you sometimes see a man make a very snap, knee-jerk decision and, you know, do something. I was once in line at the letter drop-off, you know, where everybody lines up at the post office and everyone's dropping in a letter. And a guy friend of mine who's otherwise calm, cool, and collected, he felt the line was moving too slow and got out of the car, slammed the door, took the letter, stood in front of someone's car, put it in, jumped back in the car with me, and we drove away. And later he said to me, he goes, I really reacted too big then. I don't know what happened to me, but this is what happens to men. They get flooded and they actually burn off cortisol, the stress hormone, a lot more slowly than we do. So one of my best pieces of advice to really make a man feel wonderful when he's around you, let him feel addicted when he is around you, is just understand men process emotion differently than we do. Peel off all the expectation and all the desire that he is going to respond like one of your girlfriends or a very good friend or therapist. He won't. He probably never will. He's going to respond the way that his instinct is telling him to respond. Now, with time, with boundaries, by focusing on the good, when you focus on the good and what is working, you get more of it. When you can practice some of these really positive feminine energy tools, you'll notice that your man becomes a little more receptive to possibly reading a self-help book on communicating in a relationship, or just listening to you and observing how you communicate and you leading by example. Now, how does this get a man addicted to you? Well, you have to understand that anger and any sort of aggression, it doesn't feel good to a man. I mean, there can be some elements of anger that kind of give someone a high for a second, but ultimately, a guy sometimes ends up feeling like a big jerk after he's behaved really angrily, or if he's been flooded with emotion and just has to shut a door and be alone for 20 minutes. They're not feeling good about this. They're not feeling happy and proud about this in a lot of cases. So when you can just let him be a man and let him behave the way he needs to, but have your boundaries in place, things like this. I don't want to get, too extreme here, but you can kind of give him that space to be who he is and process. That's going to mean so much to him. Just giving him time and space, and that he does not have to behave, this exceptionally perfect way and always give you the right responses all the time. He can just kind of be who he is. Because you will no doubt have days and moments that most women do where we get a little out of ourselves. We lose ourselves for a little bit, get really emotional, get really uptight. We might vent about it. And then the guy, we expect him to kind of understand what we're going through in those moments. It's going to happen with a man too. He's going to do it as well. Most of all, you want to have a healthy balance in a relationship, but you want to let a person be who they are. They're either not right for you. They can either learn some, each of you can learn some ways to make things like a little more peaceful and amicable, or not. And that's the beautiful thing about being in your feminine energy, is that you're aware of what you are feeling. Not so much, I want to change this person to be what it is I need them to be, which is boy energy and action. All right, everybody, I hope these tips have been helpful. I know it's a lot to digest and think about. So if you want some supplemental material, I really encourage, for dating, I have Femme Dating. For relationships, I have a Femme Relationship and Marriage course that you can get off of my website at everheartcoaching.com. As always, I love to hear from you in the comments section. I'd love to know what you think of this video and any other thoughts you want to share. And as always, please subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.